Hey everyone, welcome back to Online Coding YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to create a sleek and modern login form using HTML and CSS. We'll break it down step by step, so by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how it works and why we've used certain elements. Let's dive in. Alright, let's start with the HTML. Here's the basic structure of our form inside the body tag. We've got a div with a class of container that wraps everything. This container acts as our main layout box, keeping everything centered on the screen. Inside the container, we've placed a form element. The form will include the login inputs, a submit button, and links for forgot password and sign up. First up, we have a heading inside the form using the h2 tag. This simply displays the title login at the top of the form. It helps users quickly understand the purpose of the form. Next, we have two div elements with the class box. Each box contains an input element, a span for the label, and an eye for styling effects. Let's take a closer look at the input fields and how we style them for a smooth user experience. Input type text. Required. The input is for the username. The required attribute ensures that users can't submit the form without filling it out. Span. Username. The span acts as a floating label for the input. Thanks to CSS, it moves up when the input is focused or has text entered. I tag the I element adds a stylish underline animation for a modern interactive effect. Similarly, we have another input for the password. Input type password required. Password. This works exactly the same way, but the type password makes sure the input is masked, hiding the user's password for privacy. Below the input fields, we have the submit button. Input type submit. Value login. The type submit ensures that the form gets submitted when this button is clicked. The value login sets the text displayed on the button. Styled with CSS, this button glows and even changes color when clicked, adding a sleek, interactive feel to the form. At the bottom, we've added some helpful links. Div class, tab, href has. Forgot password, sign up. Each tag represents a clickable link. For now, the href has means they won't lead anywhere, but you can later link them to other pages like a password recovery form or a sign-up page. Let's link CSS page to HTML. Now, let's move on to the CSS where all the magic happens. First, we start with some global styles for consistency. Margin, 0. Padding, 0. Margin and padding, 0 remove all the default spacing from every element. This gives us a clean slate to start designing. Font family. Poppins. Sans serif. Font family sets the default font for the entire page to Poppins, which is modern, clean, and perfect for a professional design. Box sizing. Border box. Box sizing is an essential rule. It makes sure padding and borders are included in an element's total width and height, preventing layout issues. Next, the body is styled display flex. Min height 100 VH. Background has 23242A. Justify content center. Align items center. The body is styled to take up the full viewport, with flexbox used to center the container both vertically and horizontally. The dark background color gives the page a sleek, professional look. Let's talk about the container. Position, relative. Height, 450 pixels. Width, 370 pixels. Background, has 1C, 1C, 1C. Border radius, 50 pixels, 5 pixels. Overflow, hidden. This is the main box that holds the form. It's a 370x 450 pixel rectangle with two side rounded corner design. Let's focus on the glowing animated background inside our container. The animation magic happens with the before and after pseudo elements. Position, absolute. Positioning, absolute ensures the gradient covers the container. Content, height, 450 pixels. Width, 370 pixels. Top, minus 50%. Left, minus 50%. Background, linear gradient. 60-degree transparent. Has3 4EBCF, Has3 4EBCF. Background, we're creating a linear gradient at 60 degrees. The cyan color Has3 4EBCF fades out into transparency, giving a soft glow effect. Transform origin. Bottom right. Animation. Animated 6 seconds linear infinite. Animation. The gradient rotates infinitely using the animate keyframe we'll discuss in a moment. Add a second layer with after. It is same as before pseudo elements, so I copy all these code and paste it, and change before to after. Only change its background color and add an element, animation delay, minus 3 seconds. This layer has a golden gradient with a 3-second delay. By overlapping the two animations, we get a cool glowing and rotating effect. Now let's see how the rotation works. The OR keyframes rule defines the motion. OR's keyframes animated. 0% OR transform, rotate 0 degree. 100% transform, rotate 360 degree. Here, the gradient rotates 360 degrees over 6 seconds with a smooth linear motion. Combined with the two pseudo elements, this gives a beautiful animated glow. Next up, let's create the form inside the container. Position. Absolute. The form is centered with absolute positioning. Display, flex. Padding, 30 pixels. Flex direction, column. Background. Has2 2D. Background. Gives it a clean dark background to contrast with the glow. Border radius, 50 pixels, 5 pixels. Border radius gives the form stylish, rounded corners. Z-index, 10. Z-index 10 ensures it stays above the glowing background. Inset, 2 pixels. Now, let's add a title. Text align, center. Color, Has3 4EBCF. Font size, 35 pixels. Font weight, 500. The title is centered and uses the glowing cyan color to match the theme. The font size is large and sleek to make it stand out. Now let's look at the box class. Position, relative. Ensures child elements like labels and the underline animation can be positioned precisely within the box. Width, 300 pixels. Sets a consistent width for the input container. Margin top, 35 pixels. Spaces out the input boxes vertically, improving readability. Input styling, box input. This is where the actual input fields are styled. Position, relative. Padding, 20 pixels, 10 pixels, 10 pixels. Padding adds inner spacing around the text inside the input. Width, 100%, ensures the input stretches fully within its box container. Background, transparent, removes the default input background, making it visually blend into the form design. Outline, none, removes the browser's default focus outline, allowing custom styles for focus states. Border, none. Color, Has23242A, sets the text color, font size, 1 EM. Letter spacing, 0.05 EM. Z-index, 10. Ensures the input field stays on top of other elements. The submit button is styled to stand out. Input type submit. This targets only input elements with the type set to submit. It's a specific way to apply styles to submit buttons without affecting other input types like text fields or checkboxes. Padding, 5 pixels. Margin top, 40 pixels. Creates a 40 pixel gap between the button and any element above it, ensuring good spacing in your design. Font size, 20 pixels. Background, Has3 4EBCF. Changes the button's background color to a light teal, giving it a fresh, modern look. Font weight, 600. Border, none. Outline, none. Border radius, 90 pixels. Rounds the button's corners completely, giving it a pill-shaped design that looks sleek and modern. Cursor, pointer. When the button is clicked, an active effect is triggered. Input type submit active. This applies style specifically when the submit button is being clicked. Background, linear gradient 90 degree. Opacity, 0.8. The background changes to a gradient and the opacity slightly dims, providing feedback to the user. Box span. Floating labels are positioned and animated here. Position, absolute. Padding, 20 pixels, 10 pixels, 10 pixels. Left, 0. Color, HAS 8F 8F 8F. Font size 1 EM. Pointer events, none. Letter spacing, 0.05. Transition, 0.5 seconds. These span elements act as placeholders. They sit over the input field and move upwards when the field gains focus or is filled. The animation is handled with these rules. Box input, valid, core span. Box input, focus, span. Color, HAS 3, 4, EBCF. Transform, translate X minus 10 pixels, translate Y minus 30 pixels. Font size, 0.75 EM. When the input is focused or valid, the label shifts up and changes color to match the theme. This CSS code creates a custom underline effect for input fields within a container, often used in modern form designs. Box I. This targets an I element inside a .box container. Typically, this I element is used as a decorative underline positioned below an input field. Position, absolute. Height, 2 pixels. Width, 100%. Left, 0. Bottom, 0. Background, HAS 3, 4 EBCF. Border radius, 4 pixels. Transition, 0.5 seconds. Pointer events, none. Z index, 9. This creates a decorative animated underline below an input field that stays in place and doesn't block user interactions, is ready to animate or transform when paired with dot focus or hover effects. A thin line sits below the input box and expands upwards when the field is focused or valid. Box input valid I. Focus I. Height 44 pixels. The animation adds a smooth effect, enhancing the user experience. Let's creating a tab navigation layout. This CSS snippet is used to style a tab navigation bar. Display, flex, turns the tab container into a flex box, which allows its child elements, for example links, to align and distribute dynamically in a row. Justify content, space between. Child element styles. Tab A margin, 25 pixels and 0 pixel. Adds vertical spacing of 25 pixel above and below each link. Ensures the links have sufficient spacing, preventing a cramped appearance. Color, HAS 60A096. Sets the text color to a soft teal shade, making the links visually appealing. Font size, 1 EM. Text decoration, none. Distributes the child elements evenly across the available space. Each child element is pushed to the sides, creating space between them for a clean and structured look. When hovered over, links change color. Tab A, hover. Tab A, nth child 2. Color, HAS 3, 4 EBCF. The second link is styled to always match the primary theme color. And that's it. This login form is not just functional, but also visually appealing. With animations and modern design elements, it's perfect for any project where you want to impress users right from the login screen. If you enjoyed this walkthrough, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tutorials like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.